smart because you tell yourself the inflation rate is the consumer inflation. But for the most part, the screaming winners are 1% better. Nobody's got a great solution, right? You can either do really awful, or you can just, keep your wealth without generating any more. Nobody can outperform inflation. So what do they invest in? Well, these family offices, this is capital weighted. They put 45% of their capital into alternative investments. They don't want to hold public equity. Their view is public equity is fully valued. They certainly don't want to own bonds, right? So much for the 60-40 portfolio. Their portfolio is not 60-40. They want something else. And something else is more like real estate or something private or some special situation. But what's the best alternative investment? Bitcoin's the best alternative investment, right? What's the second best? There is no second best, right? There's hundreds of thousands of financial advisors, and every wealthy family in the world is looking for the best alternative asset. Okay, why is Bitcoin the best alternative asset? Well, just a little bit of inspection will demonstrate that it's uncorrelated to currencies, corporations, or counterparties. No corporate execution risk, no currency debasement risk, and none of the counterparty risk that comes with bonds and credit and the like. What is it? It's global, it's non-sovereign, it's a store of value. It's liquid. Buying a building in San Francisco is not liquid. You can't buy it in a minute. You can't sell it on the weekend. And the truth is, and this is the irony of ironies, everybody thinks Bitcoin is risky because it's volatile. It's volatile because it's not risky. It's the lowest risk thing you can own in the world because it's the thing that has the most risk stripped away. The reason it's volatile, it's that it's the most desirable, most accessible thing, which means that everybody else is expressing their sentiment and their emotions every minute of the day, everywhere in the world, however they wish to. And why is it the best alternative asset? Because it's the longest duration asset, right? You buy a building on the beach, it'll last for 30 years. Do you want to buy a building in Manhattan that's good for 50 years or whatever? Or do you want to buy the granite or the schist under Manhattan that's been there for 200 million years? Buy 100 blocks of granite in Manhattan, right? Don't get caught up in the building, the zoning, the corporation, the parties, the conferences, and the whatever. When Howard Hughes came to Las Vegas, he looked around and he bought all the land. He bought so much land that they're still building on the land that Howard Hughes bought, and he's been dead 50 years. Summerlin, it's all Howard Hughes. Everything he did, he looked and he was like, well, if this is going to work, I'm just going to buy all the land because I don't know which casino will work. Right? The land's still here. The casinos are gone. The restaurants are gone. The politicians have come and gone. Every other good idea is gone. They built, it used to be the Mirage was cool. Treasure Island was cool, the Bellagio was cool, the Wynn was cool, the Encore was cool. Here we are in some cool place. The land's still here. Buy the land. That's the alternative asset. And of course, that makes Bitcoin the best asset class. It's an entire ecosystem of products, services, companies, securities, derivatives, and professions. It's the global digital asset network. It's the internet of money. The securities, or Bitcoin-backed securities, are being issued worldwide, everywhere, at an accelerating rate. This year, right, you saw an explosion of spot ETFs in the US, but look at all the ETFs in Hong Kong. Look at all the ETFs in Europe. This is the beginning, right? You're going to see more and more and more. Every one of these companies is joining the ecosystem. They're securitizing. And it's not just this MicroStrategy security, options are security. There are options and derivatives on the securities. There are bonds on the securities. This is exploding. It'll continue. Every Bitcoin miner is a security. One day there'll be 1,000 securities or 10,000 securities, all backed by Bitcoin. Same with corporate treasuries. Bitcoin treasuries are growing rapidly, right? They keep this chart up every month. It's never declining. The chart's not ever decreasing. It only goes one way. Bitcoin is a capital ratchet. It's a one-way ratchet, right? Archimedes said, give me a lever long enough and a place to stand and I can move the world. Bitcoin is the place to stand. The leverage is coming via all these securities, all these corporate treasuries, right? And the leverage is getting to be extreme. MicroStrategy showed you how you can actually generate performance with leverage, but we're just the first, we're not the only. You could do it 10,000 more times. The more leverage that gets put on this network, the bigger the network's going to get. You know, and a final few points, Bitcoin's the best bank. It's the bank say it's a savings account for billions of people. No company, no currency, no country, no agenda. It's egalitarian, it's open. There is no second best bank. Bitcoin's the best path to peace. It's open, permissionless, transparent, decentralized. It's a fair and equitable way to settle differences between global counterparties that have conflicting interests. What's the second best way, right? The second best way maybe is we shoot each other up, right, with weapons, but this is the best way. There's no second best way. It's not just the path to peace, it's the path to prosperity, right? This is a global monetary network giving equal property rights to all economic classes in every nation. What's the second best way to do this? There's no second best way. Where are we now? Bitcoin's on a path of evolution from the idealist to the institutions. The first dozen years, it was the era of the idealists, the cypherpunks, you know, the libertarians, the entrepreneurs, the crypto cowboys, right? You know the story. It's been written about. People will probably make many more movies about it. What was 2020 to 2024? The crazy years, right? Starting with COVID, ending with the approval of the spot ETFs. It was the crazy years. What's going to happen to crypto? Who's going to control crypto? Will it be regulated, right? Will Bitcoin be banned? Will it be hacked? Will it be copied? We resolved that in those 4 years, and now we've come out of the crazy years. Now we're in the era of institutional adoption. Institutions, corporations, and investors are going to define the future of this network from 1 trillion to 100 trillion. And that's appropriate, right? From 2008 to 2020, the network went from 0 to 150 billion. And between 2020 and 2024, it went from the 150 billion to 1.4 trillion. So you can see how this is lining up. Of course, institutions and corporations are going to join this network. They have all the money. It's a monetary network, right? At the end of the day, you have a monetary network, then people with all the money, that run the money, that need the money, are going to join the network. So in summary, look, Bitcoin's the best idea. There's no more powerful idea than the digital transformation of capital. Right? What are you going to do with this? Well, you're going to improve your life, your family, your product, your service, your company, your institution, your government, or your world, right? Improve them all, right? It's pretty straightforward how you do it. You've got pure economic energy. It's not the solution to every problem in the world. It's just the solution to half the problems in the world. But every other problem in the world, you're going to need economic energy or economic power to solve it. And this is how you harness and channel that power. No force on earth can stop an idea whose time has come. This is an idea, its time has come, it's unstoppable. And so I'm going to end with the observation that Bitcoin is the best. The best what? The best. It's the best. It's the best idea. Once you've found the best idea, everything else you can invest your time, which is scarce, or your energy, which is scarce, everything you can invest your time and energy in is dilutive, everything else. So what do I suggest? I suggest study Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin, build on Bitcoin, advocate Bitcoin, defend Bitcoin, and then you can enjoy Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, there is no second best. Thank you.